Hi guys, welcome back to Tabletop. So it's Rob here doing a review on the Genestealer Codex, the new book. I thought I'd put two books out here to show you the difference between the two, the classic and the new. Ross and Dave actually let me do a review on this one for a change, due to the fact that they've never played them in their lives, but I have. Spoil them out. But first off, hope you guys had a really good Christmas and New Year. We all have, and as best we could, as it is. But hopefully 2022 is going to be a really good year for everybody, not just in gaming, but everyone in general. So with that, I'm going to start going through a quick review on the new Genestealer Codex. Back in a minute. Guys, I'm going to break this video down for you into smaller chunks, so you can go through what sort of things you want to look at as it is. So first off, it'll be how the book is, it's set up, so on and so forth. Then I'll go into about the actual army itself, detachment rules, main rules for the faction itself. Then I'll go into the cult creeds that everybody's really looking forward to, and how they'll be basing their army off. Then I'll go into strats, and then the units with point changes or point costs, as it may be. So with that, I'm going to start off with the main rules for the army itself. Now I've had to keep the book open. I've made some notes, but I've got to keep the book open itself because quite a few bits and pieces have changed in the army itself on how it actually can be working, and I can see quite a few people that I know that play Genestealer Cult will be very interested on these and see how they actually work moving forward, especially in the competitive players. You know, I try to be a competitive player. Yes, in it, so I try to be a competitive player. But with that, start off with same rules as previously is. You have your Brood Coven, so your Patriarch, your Primus, and your Magus. In each detachment, you only can have one of each character. Now, Genestealer Cult have got a plethora of characters, got 13 in total that you can actually choose. One or two have actually moved from the HQ slot into elites, but what the main detachment rules will give you is that for every HQ choice you put in, you can put another character in as a non-org slot. So very much like Space Marines with Ravenwing, for instance, whereby you have units of Black Knights on bike. Therefore, each unit Black Knights you can put in an Apothecary on bike or an Ancient on bike in a non-org slot. So, for instance, for these guys, you can have your Patriarch, Primus, and your Magus, and then you can have your Sanctus, Celeborth, and Nexus, for instance, just picking three random, as non-organisation slots, so they don't take any elite slots whatsoever. Handy, but I mean the characters, as you know, are quite weak as it is. You have to be really, really careful with them. So these guys do rely heavily on characters, so you need to be very mindful of what you actually choose. So Brood Coven itself, only your HQ choices can actually have Warlord traits. So you can't have your Celeborth or Sanctus or Nexus or anything like that with a Warlord trait. This has got to be your HQ choices. And you do have your one CP for Brood Coven itself, so that enables you to have your Patriot, Primus and Magus, if they're all in your same detachment, to have a Warlord trait itself, which we'll go into later on. Your Cult Creeds are still in, as they are. I think it's the 6, looking at the notes there, 6 standard Cult Creeds, which all have their own abilities. Warlord trait, Relic, as it is, and Stratagem. Can't forget that for the particular creed itself. Then going on to one main one is the Blue Brothers. Now in the old book, Old Faithful, has details on like your Sentinels and your Chimeras and your Lehman Russes. That's not in the new book. It's all down to your Blue Brothers are from your Astra Militarum book. So same as previously, if you have a Genestealer Cult detachment, you can have one Imperial Guard or Astra Militarum detachment with it. It's got to be maximum of 25% of your total army. So in a standard 2,000 point game, 500 points maximum can be Blue Brothers. And all you're doing with it is you're removing the Imperium keyword and putting the Blue Brother keyword in its place. You can't take any Warlord traits or relics from Imperial Guard, but all you do get is +2 to your leadership and unquestionable loyalty ability for your characters. So characters can push off wounds to Imperial Guard itself. That's basic main rule set for creating detachment, but I'm going to quickly go over the other rule set, which is Crossfire and Entrapment, I think it's called, but I'll go over that next. So going on to the other datasheet rules that you're going to have with the Genestealer Cult. So you still get your ambush tokens as previously, and you get a nice purple set this time, double-sided. Wonder why it's double-sided for? For your Crossfire tokens as well. So you've got your ambush there, and then you have your Crossfire. And what is Crossfire? You may have seen it on Warhammer community in relation to giving buffs to your lovely Genestealer Cult units. So what is Crossfire, guys, is if you have 2 of your units with the Crossfire keyword that are either side of an enemy unit with no terrain in the way, if you fire into that unit with 5 successes or one or more with a damage characteristic of more than 1, so it's 5 normal shots, so 5 auto guns or 5 pistols or 5 flamers hit, or auto hit for instance, or 1 weapon that has greater than 1 damage, so your mining lasers and all that sort of thing, they get a marker of Crossfire. And what that means is if you'll go into the next part of the ruling, which is the effects of Crossfire, any other unit will have +1 to attack to hit roll, for a Crossfire marker. Then you go on to exposed, not entrapped, as I said previously. Exposed. So how you get exposed is if you have 2 units either side of an enemy unit, they can clearly see it, no terrain in the way whatsoever, they become exposed, and therefore you get +1 to the wound roll. And if you're less than 12 inches away, they get no light cover either. So rules upon rules, guys. It sounds complicated, but once you start playing a couple of games, it will get easier. So basic rules: Crossfire, 5 shots that hit, you get a Crossfire mark on that enemy unit. One hit from a weapon that's more than 1 damage, they get Crossfire hit, marker. To become exposed, 2 units either side of that crossfired unit become exposed, and therefore you get reroll hit on or +1 to hit roll and +1 to win roll. So it could stack up quite nicely if you've got a main unit that you want to drop, and there's stratagems that can help you. Then you've got ambush, as I said. Ambush tokens are still back, and conceal is for your reinforcement. So no reinforcement points needed, guys. If you unit can be going to conceal. It's basically, as in from underground, reinforcement from turn 2 onwards. Just helps you dot about the place, and there's other stratagems that can help improve that as well. And lastly, on this, summon the cult. So that is with your cult icons, which actually mean quite a lot now, especially in your larger blobs. So cult icon, which is 20 points per unit, that is. On your neophytes, you can have up to squads of 15 now for most things. Most acolytes, metamorphs, and neophytes. Cult icon basically enables you to bring back D6 neophytes and D3 acolytes, which is big. But the main ruling is per turn you only can bring back a maximum of 6 neophytes and 3 acolytes, just to try and minimise how much you can actually bring back. You have opportunities and rules that can actually enable you to use the cult summoning more than once a turn on the same unit, but you only can bring back a maximum of 6 neophytes and 3 acolytes. To me that sounds reasonable, because like I say, excuse me, bringing back more than that as it is can be quite daunting. Not as bad as Necrons, but at the same time it makes more sense on that, especially for the cheap points that they are, which I'll go into in a bit. That is the main rulings for the detachment. It's creating your army, and the ruling for the armies themselves. Quite a few of them, so you need to be on your game. Not as much as AdMech, poor AdMech players, but still there are quite a few rules as they are. Going to go into the cult creeds now to see what we're going to be able to create for our creed to fight in 40k. Right guys, so I'm going to go through the cult creeds. 6 main ones, but then there's also the generic ones. I'll have a brief talk on those. Not going to go into too much detail, just bring up the best points as it is, but mainly on the 6 cult creeds and everybody knows and loves. I'll have a brief rundown of those. So start off with Cult of the Four-Armed Emperor. So in your rules, I've got some notes here guys, to try and do it all at the same time, is +1 advance, +1 charge. Isn't too shabby. In the new book is reroll charge, and outside of 12 inch, they if you range shots, they get light cover. Not too bad at all. Warlord trait, inscrutable cunning. Trying to say the words. So once per battle, if you've got a unit within 12 inches of your warlord and you use a stratagem, you can -1 command point off that stratagem to 0 command points. But you only can use this warlord trait once per stratagem. So you can't use the same stratagem 3 or 4 times and -1 CP from it. That would be OP. But it's still quite a substantial war trait. It's quite niche because you've got a 24 inch diameter bubble, but it could be quite useful. But you need to keep your warlord quite close to what you're going to use for. The stratagem for the Four-Armed Emperor: plan generations in a making. 0 CP. Use the stratagem after the opponent uses the stratagem, not on command point rerolls. Until the end of the battle, CP cost your opponent must pay is increased by 1, but you only can use the stratagem once. So, Black Heart one could be 2-3 CP, bring it up to 4 CP even, for quite a substantial one. It's situational, it's okay. The Relic Sword of the Four-Armed Emperor, mainly going to be used, I can see it on the Primus, because it's a bone sword. And basically you get 4 additional attacks, which will bring it up to 8 attacks, plus 1 strength, so it'll be strength 5, minus 4, 1 damage in any 6's auto wound. So you can make your Primus quite tanky. You can use it on your Locust for the Locust Blades, but I would have thought if you can go down Four-Armed Emperor, you would use it on your Primus. And Psychic Power that you can use Undermine, cast on a 7, basically select a unit, excluding that can fly, within 18 inches, minus 3 off the movement, half advance rolls, and subtract 2 from charges. So it will prevent or will hinder quite a lot enemies charging into you, especially that key unit you see going to run in and cause absolute havoc. You could really slow them down or make them exposed. See, using new words there, guys. Not one of my favourites, but I know there'll be Four-Armed Emperor guys out there which may take a liking to it. Going on to the Hive Cult. This one I feel is going to be quite substantial out there. So Hive Cult, in your book, you can fall back and shoot with the additional minus 1 to hit. In the new one, you can fall back and shoot as normal, but also you can fall back, advance, and perform actions, and still shoot. Very key, especially with secondaries now causing you need actions itself to score your victory points. That one is very key. That's very strong, being brutally honest. Warlord trait, Hive Lord, within 6 inches of the Warlord, range attack on a 6 scores an additional hit. Additional hits, not additional roll needed. So that's going to be quite key as well. The Relic, Volker's Talisman, where it gets 5 makes an melee attack on a modifier roll of a 5. Saving throws cannot be made against attack, including invuln saves. That's massive. So you go against Morty or something like that, I know you're going to be mad to in combat. But for instance, the Patriarch even, yeah, get it right, Rob. You give that talisman to Patriarch in combat, 5 or 6, he ignores armor saves and invuln saves. If you've got damage 2, damage 3, you start tanking that Primarch with spells, give it +1 strain, +1 this, +1 that. It could cause a hell of a lot of issues. And just thinking out loud on there, Blade Guard vets as well, because they've got really good armor save, really good invuln save. That's quite strong. Stratagem form, Fire Discipline, Hive Cult core Crossfire units. You can hear me say this Crossfire many times. Select one enemy unit without a Crossfire marker on it. That enemy gains a Crossfire marker until the end of the phase. Models that in that Crossfire unit can only target that enemy unit itself. Again, Crossfire. And Psychic Power, Synaptic Blast, Warp Charge 5, roll a d6, add to the result if for each friendly Hive Cult core unit within 6 inches of the Psyker, if the result is less than the movement characteristic of the chosen enemy unit within 18 inches of, suffers d3 mortal wounds. If the result is equal to or greater than the movement of the Psyker, the enemy suffers 3 mortal wounds. Not too bad, especially if you want to start picking off characters or anything with 3 wounds. You could drop one like that. It's not too shabby at all. Turning over the page, Bladey Cog. So as you know, Admech foam, Edition Genestealer Codex. You'll see quite synergies on this. So in the old rules is 6 up invuln, and you can move and shoot with heavy weapons. In this one, you still get your 6 up invuln. You can reroll 1 wound roll, and plus 3 inches to all your ranges. It's quite significant, quite strong, especially if you've got a lot of like auto guns or shotguns, etc. like that. You don't want to be close up. You don't have to be so far. It's like slowing your opponent's face, but it's still very, very strong. Warlord trait, single-minded obsession, which we had previously. Before the battle, select 1 enemy unit from your opponent's army, while a friendly Bladey Cog core unit within 6 inches of the warlord. Each time a model in that unit makes a ranged attack, you can re-roll the wound roll. That is strong. That is good. It's only 1 unit though, but it's still very, very, very good. Mark of the Claws on the side for the Relic. Bearers a 4 up invuln save. At the start of each fight phase, roll 1d6 for each enemy unit within engagement range. 2 to 3 suffers a mortal wound. 4, 5 suffers 2 mortal wounds. On a 6 suffers 3 mortal wounds. Mortal wound kick out, really good. And then stratagem, Xenoform Bionics. Use this stratagem before the battle when you are mustering your army. 1 Bladey Cog infantry or biker. Models in that unit have a 5 up invuln. If they have a power rating of 6 or less, this stratagem costs 1 CP rather than 2. So you can reduce that, make that invuln save better by 1. Not too shabby. And then psychic power, Brood Vault Surge on a 5. To your next psychic phase, while a friendly Bladey Cog unit within 3 inches of the psychic, each time an attack with damage characteristic of 1 is allocated to it, your armor save is improved by 1. Not bad at all. Very much Admech-esque, with quite a few of the cheeky stratagems and rules for the new Admech itself. So that one is quite nice. Going on to the Rusted Claw. Rusted Claw in the old rules, plus 1 arm save versus AP 0 -1. This time you have got reduce any AP -1 -2 by 1. So AP -1 becomes 0, AP -2 becomes -1. And your class is stationary at all times for heavy weapons. Again, not too bad. Not too bad. Especially if you're going heavy on the heavy weapons and all that lot. Warlord trait, Entropic Touch. Each time this warlord makes a melee attack and a modifier roll for 6 scores 2 hits. Again, not bad. Improve armor penetration for melee weapons e warlord by 1, excluding relics. So if you're going to go heavy on your melee, your combat, again, not bad at all. The Relic Nomad's Mantle. Bearer is eligible to shoot, charge, and manifest psychic powers in turn it advances or falls back. Yeah, especially if your Magus gets trapped in combat, you can fall back and still do your psychic powers. Not bad. Each time bearer makes a normal move, advances, falls back, or makes a charge move until the move is finished. It can move horizontally through models and terrain features, and cannot be finished on top of a normal model. That's quite good. Gets you out of dodge, basically. Whether I use it, don't know. But as it stands, it's not bad to keep your Magus, especially, out of trouble. Drive-by demolitions. Stratagem for 1 command point. So you break a squad. Makes a normal move, advances or falls back. 1 model in that unit can shoot with a grenade weapon as if it was a shooting phase. From that, enemy units that within 6 inches in the phase are eligible targets. Until the end of the phase, do not roll to determine the number of attacks for that weapon. You get maximum number on there, so 6 for grenades. So demolition charges, grenade launcher, frag, crack grenades, you get max numbers. for 1 command point. So you go demo charges on a vehicle, you've got a good chance of doing some severe damage on it. For 1 command point, that's not bad. Because I remember when you could do a command point, and I think 1 command point or 2 command points for your bikers for all of them to do demo charges. You get right up close to the enemy and drop all of them. You don't get that anymore, sadly. But it's not too bad. Psychic power, inescapable decay, warp charge 6, second enemy unit within 18, visible to Psycho. Instead of the start of your next psychic phase, each time friendly Rested Claw model makes an attack that enemy unit, improve the armor pen by 1, which would be quite good, especially with autoguns, the AP 0, make an AP 1 against it. So low AP, the amount of dice you're going to roll, you're going to cause damage. Make them, as I always say, make them roll armor saves. They are going to fail sometime. Just make them roll as many as possible. Over the page to Pauper Princes. So, Pauper Princes. Reroll melee in your book. This one is now, if you made a charge, were charged, heroically intervene, add 1 to the attack hit rolls. And ignore modifiers of combat attrition. So you can stand around for quite some time, which is good. Warlord traits, each time you take an unquestionable loyalty test, so farming off wounds, do not roll a dice, it automatically passes. Not too bad, especially if you've got your Patriarch and he's deep in combat and you just spam a load of smaller units around him, start farming off wounds to everybody, keep them in check, not bad. Each time a saving throw is made for a warrior is failed, you can select other friendly Poor Princes, Brew Brothers models with this ability within 6 of the warlord instead of 3 inches. That's going to be quite strong. While a friendly core unit within 6 inches of this warlord, and models in that unit can use his leadership instead of their own. Again, can be quite strong. That's why, because like I said, these guys will start losing heavy numbers quite quickly. So you need something there to keep them in check. Relic of the Saint Tindark, if it's pronounced correctly. The bearer of this following ability, aura, 6 inches, models in that unit have a 5-up influence save. Yeah, I can live with that. It's not bad at all, and gives them a bit of survivability. Stratagem for 1 command point, Vengeance of the Martyred. Character in your army is destroyed until the end of the battle. Each time friendly Poor Prince's model makes a melee attack that target the enemy unit, add 1 to the attack's wound roll. So just rereading that. When a Poor Prince's character model from your army is destroyed by an enemy unit until the end of the battle, each time a friendly Poor Prince's model makes a melee attack against that enemy unit, you get add 1 to the wound roll. Yeah, it's not bad, especially if you've got quite a few characters, which you will guarantee have a Genestealer cult army. It could be quite substantial. Psychic power, last gasp. I'm trying to speak there, guys. Warp charge 5, core unit within 18. Until the end of psychic phase, each time a model in that unit is destroyed by a melee attack on a 5-up, after that the attacking model's unit has finished, it suffers 1 mortal wound per model to a maximum of 5 mortal wounds per phase as a result of that psychic power. You lose 5, you take 5 mortal wounds. Very strong. Very strong. The more mortal wounds you put out, the stronger it's going to get. And that is quite strong. Poor Prince I could possibly see running quite a lot. But I have to say it's still going to be baby steps on there because there's a lot of rules to take in, guys, as I said. The last of the main ones, Twisted Helix. In the old rules, 2 more notes, you get +1 strength and +2 to advance. In this one you get +1 strength, +1 move, and you get a mini transhuman. You fail on a 1 or 2. So, like your poor princes? No, your neophytes, they're toughness 3, so you can only ever wound them on 3s, which is quite substantial. To be fair, that is like bolt guns are still wounding on 3s, but anything that wounding on 2s, you're gonna be now wounding on 3s on everything. Yeah, that's when you have a good bit of survivability on there. Warlord trait, bioalchemy. Add 1 to damage characteristics of melee weapons this warlord is equipped with, excluding relics. Again, could be quite good. Elixir of the prime specimen for the relic. Select 1 genomic enhancement for the bearer to gain, even though it's not a core or aberrant unit. If your army includes biophagus, you can instead select 2 genomic enhancements for the bearer to gain. These will come later on, and they are quite strong, especially for these guys here. Hopefully we'll see some of these because they're great models, and they can be really strong. I may be getting some more, maybe. See how they do first. Monstrous Biohorrors. For 1 CP, use stratagem in fight phase, where the abominant from your army is selected to fight, so these guys again. Each enemy model destroyed by an attack made by a model in that unit counts as 2 for purpose of morale tests. So you can go to town, basically. Each time a model in the unit fights, it can frenzy. If it does so until the fight is resolved, add 1 to the model's attack characteristic and change the damage characteristics of melee weapons equipped with to 1. Could be good. Go out to town. So I had to think about that, so I was just reading the last little bit. Could still be strong. Could be strong. Psychic power, mutagenic deviation, warp charge 5, selects 1 friendly Twisted Helix unit within 12. Until the start of the psychic phase, each time a model in that unit makes a melee attack and a modified roll of 6 wounds a target. So those are rolling dice, obviously, but everybody likes rolling dice. But again, if you've got plenty of attacks on there, you just roll a shed load of attack dice, 3 or 4 per model, 30, 40 models, so 40 attack rolls. Could cause quite a bit of auto wounds. Not too bad, not too bad. Then we go on to the custom, or myriad cults. So basically the rules for these guys is you have 4 cult points, and you've got 2 pages of them, and each cult, creed, ability costs you a certain amount of points. There's one that costs 4, there's a few cost 3, 2, and then 1. You can choose as many of these as you want, but up to a maximum of 4 cult points. So you've got, like, prime example, you've got for one cult point, industrial affinity, industrial weapons, and you'll hear this quite a lot as well. So that is your mining lasers, seismic cannons, rock saws, so on and so forth. You can ignore any or all hit roll ballistic and weapon skill modifiers. So when you're firing against aircraft, for instance, -1 to hit, you hit on your normal ballistic skill for 1 cult point. Another 1 cult point, for instance, each time a unit with this creed piles in and consolidates, you add 1 to the movement characteristic. Not too bad. Synoptic resonance, 1 cult point. You reroll 1s and 2s. if you're going to go psychic heavy, that would be quite handy. Moving on to the 2s. So toxic agents. Each time model with this creed makes a melee attack, excluding vehicles and monsters, and a modifier roll of a hit 6 auto wounds. So it's very much similar to some of the cults. Throw a patriarch for 2. Each time combat attrition test is taken, ignore all modifiers. Keeps you sat there. Each time, deep supplies for 2 cult points. Each time a unit with this creed is selected to shoot or fight, you can reroll 1 wound roll of their attacks. You'll see this quite a lot in other races, or other factions now. For 3 cult points, going up in the world. Impassioned. Each time a model with this creed makes a melee attack, if that model's unit made a charge move, was charged, or performed heroic intervene, you add 1 to the hit roll. That'll be quite strong. Hunter's Instinct, you reroll all charges. Yes. So if you're going properly combat heavy, the whole creed, yes, reroll charges. That would be quite strong. And help, especially with getting you into the right charges at the right times. So yeah, it's quite nice. Quite nice. But with that, I'm going to have a quick drink, wet and whistle. And next up, I'm going to go through relics, warlord traits, and strategy. Relics, warlord traits, and objectives that are cult specific. Speak to you in a minute. Hi guys, welcome back. I'm going to go through warlord traits, psychic abilities, I forgot to say that at the end of the other one, relics and objectives for Genestealer Cult. So starting off with warlord traits, you've got focus of adoration. Within 6 inches of warlords, they can do heroic intervene. That includes Genestealers as well. Genestealers, we all have Genestealers. They're iconic, they're alien. 6-inch intervene. Could be helpful, especially if you've got Patriarch. Genestealers always follow your Patriarch about. Yeah, that's good. Shadow Stalker. Each time an attack is made against this warlord, subtract 1 from the hit roll. Bit more survival. Biomorph adaptation. Add 1 to attack and toughness of characteristics for your warlord. That'd be quite good. I think it makes it toughness 6 on your Patriarch. So it's going to be quite tanky as it is. Prowling Adjutant. Once per turn, when a warlord is selected as a target of a charge, before the charge roll is made, and after fighting any Overwatch, you can make a normal move up to 6 inches. Oh, that could be quite funny. So if you've got a 9-inch as it is, you could basically just get out of the way. 6 inches, make it next to impossible. I'm not going to say it will, but next to impossible to actually charge in to your Patriarch to get into combat. That is, saying out loud, that's quite good. You have to be right up close, as in like 2-3 inches away, to charge in, and then you just go bye. There's a 9-inch charge now. That's really good. I like that. Alien Majesty, add 3 inches to the ranges of Warlord auras up to maximum 9 inches, and 3 inches to the range of the following abilities this Warlord has, if any, for Jackal, particularly planning or priority target. So that's down to your Alphas, your Primus, etc. etc. And lastly, on the generics, pre-turn natural speed. Each time Warlord makes a melee attack, you can reroll hit rolls. At the start of the fight phase, if this Warlord is in the engagement range of any enemy units, it has to fight first. I like that as well. That's pretty good. The last 3 I really do like. It's quite entertaining now. Going on to the psychic abilities. I'm not, as you know, I'm not really a psychic. I play Harlequins. I'm not really good at psychics. That's Dave's bag. Dave does psychics for days with Magnus, who did nothing wrong, so he says. Good mind discipline. So, Massive Gnosis are cast on a 7, 18 inches away. Subtract 1 from the attack characteristics and models in that unit. In the fight phase, that unit is not eligible to fight until everybody else has done so. I could live with that. That's not too shabby, especially if it's a beast of a unit and you can throw a beast of a unit in there. Yeah, I could live with that. Mind control, 6 up, not 6 to cast, I should say. Range at 18 inches. Each time a model in that unit makes an attack, subtract 1 from the attack roll. And if the result of the psychic test was equal to or greater than in its leadership, subtract 1 from the unit's leadership characteristics and subtract 1 from combat attrition as well. Situational, but yeah, I can live with that. Psychic Blast, cast on a 5, 18 inches away. Unless the enemy unit is within engagement range of this psyker, the lookout rule applies if the psychic power is ranged. So you can attack anybody, including characters, but lookout save does take into effect. Unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. If the result of the psychic test was equal to or greater than the unit's leadership, suffer 3 instead of D3. Especially for low level characters like 4 or 5 wounds. That's quite good. I like that. Mental Onslaught. Cast on a 5, select 1 enemy unit within 24 and visible to the psyker and roll 4d6. For each 5 up, suffers 1 mortal wound. If any model in that unit are destroyed as a result of those mortal wounds, but the unit is not destroyed, keep repeating this process, reducing the number of dice, so down to 3, down to 2, down to 1. The number of dice finishes at 0, stops. You roll no results of 5 up, or the unit is destroyed. That's when you stop. 5 or 6, still a third. You can take it or leave it. Psychic Stimulus, cast on a 6, 18 inches away, visible to the psyker. Unit is eligible to shoot and or declare a charge in a turn in which they advance or fall back. Models in this unit do not suffer the penalty for firing assault weapons if they advance. So it helps you get to places, basically. Might from Beyond, value of 6, select one friendly unit within 18. Until the next psychic phase, add 1 to the attack characteristics. So you can put Might and Beyond on aberrants to give them additional attack, buff them up so as big as you want, and then send them on their way. Some of them are situational there. A few of them are alright. Can't complain. I mean, you remember you've also got your Creed ones as well to take into account. But other than that, it's not too bad. Not too bad. Relics. The mini relics is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's 11 relics plus 6. So that's 17 relics you can choose from. There's 6 from the Creeds as well. But you only be using 1, so it'll be 12 relics in total you can choose from. Or if you do multiple Creeds, then it will be up to 14. I think 12, yeah, up to 14. So let's dive in. So, Sword of the Void's Eye. If you've got a Bone Sword or Locust Blade, it replaces it. Each time you make a weapon, you can reroll hit roll, you can reroll the wound roll. So it's plus 2 strength, minus 3 AP, 2 damage. Pretty good against Marines, especially intercessors, 2 damage each. So I know everybody uses intercessors as the go-to, but there's so many of them about. Why not? Hand of Aberrants. So with a toxin injector, so that's your Biophagus. Each time the bearer fights, it makes 1 additional attack with its weapon. Each time attack is made with its weapon against non-vehicle Titanic, unmodified roll of 2 up, or he succeeds. And that's Strength User, minus 2 AP, flat 3 damage. Not bad, but like I said, relics are quite niche. And you have 2 or 3 in your army, so you've got to think about it. Amulet of the Void Worm. which is a classic one from old book. 4 up invuln, once per battle when an attack is allocated to the bearer, it can channel a Shadow of the Warp. If it does so, saving throws automatically as 6, do not roll. Each time the bearer declares a charge, enemy units that were targeted by the charge cannot fire Overwatch. So it's very similar to the old book, which is very strong, especially for Patriarch again. Press Bane for old John Wayne with his millions of pistols. And again, it's pistol 3, 15-inch range, strength 4, -2, flat 2. And each time made with a weapon, the target is treated as having crossfire marker and being exposed. So with a Precious Bane, you can't do the additional attacks from it. But you've got the other 2 pistols that can do the same. Wormtooth rounds for the Kellamorph. Each time the bearer shoots, you can select any number of Liberator auto stub is equipped with to fire Liberator Wormtooth round. If you do so, then until the shooting is resolved, each Liberator auto stub you selected has the following profile: 18-inch range, heavy 1, strength 6, -3, 3 damage. The Liberator Wormtooth round does not have the ability, so when you hit, you can't get roll for an additional hit on there. So you've got 3 pistols, 3 heavy shots, strength 6, -3, flat 3. Quite strong, especially for low level vehicles, like even Dreadnoughts for instance. That could be toughness 7, but still that is quite strong. Dagger of Swift Sacrifice. So that's either for Magus or the Sanctus. Each time the bearer is selected to fight, you can reroll 1 wound roll that's made by the bearer. Each time after the bearer has fought, select 1 enemy model that lost any wounds. On a 3-up, that model suffers D3 mortal wounds. It's not bad. More that I got on the Magus, on that for a quick stabby. The Crouchling, which you normally replace on the Psychic Familiar. Now the Crouchling can go on Magus for these little familiars, the Patriarch, anything that's got a Psychic Familiar. You can reroll 1 Psychic test. Each time the Psychic test is passed this model, if all dice results of the test were the same, the Psychic power or Psychic action cannot be nullified. So if you roll a double, it can't be nullified as long as it passes. Double 3 for instance, or a double 4. Nice little trick. Gift from Beyond. So it's a sniper rifle, so it can go on the Jackal Alphas or the Sanctus. He's hidden. So it's 48-inch range, heavy 1, strength 5, -3 AP, flat 3 damage. Each time you select a target from this weapon, you can ignore Lookout Sir. Each time the attack is made with this weapon, and a modifier roll of 4 up inflicts a mortal wound on top. So you can potentially do 4 damage. Not too bad. The Unwilling Orb. So on the Psyker, bearer can attempt to deny 1 additional psychic test. While the bearer is on the battlefield, each time it attempts to deny psychic power, it can do so from any range, so 24. That's handy. That's very handy. Cranial Inlay. While the bearer is on the battlefield, each time you spend a command point to use your stratagem, roll d6 on a 5-up, it's refunded. That's on your Nexus. And the Voice of the Liberator. Add d6 to range of the bearer's Proclamation Hailer, which is on your Clamorous. While a friendly cult unit is within 12 inches of the bearer, add 1 to leadership characteristics of the models there. Some good ones, some average ones, some meh ones, I'm afraid. I'm very quickly going to go on to your secondaries. So, under Shadow Operatives, Sabotage Critical Location. After choosing deployment zones, your opponent must place 2 critical location markers on the battlefield. Each must be more than 9 inches away from any battlefield edge and more than 9 inches away from other critical locations. If both players must place these markers, the player alternate doing so, starting with the defender. So basically, it's an action for infantry or biker unit, no characters, other than your saboteur, if you've got one. It must be within 3 inches on there. You score basic victory points for when you sabotage critical location. So if you do, you can't do it in the first battle round. On battle round 2, battle round, the action was completed. So on battle round 2, you score 9 points. On 3, 7 points. 4, 5 points. 5, 3 points. So on. Battlefield Supremacy. At the end of your turn, this is called Brood Swarm. Sorry. At the end of your turn, score 1 victory point for each of the following that applies to maximum of 4. So very much like Oath of the Moment. So you have more models within your opponent's deployment zone than your opponent does. You have more models in your deployment zone than your opponent does. You have more models on the battlefield that are not within each other's deployment zone. All 3 of the above products apply. So if you've got more in your deployment zone, score 1. More in your opponent's deployment zone, you score 1. More in the middle, you score 1. If you can do all 3, you score an additional 1. So a maximum of 4 points. Your army is going to be MSU. So that one could be an auto include in your army. Purge enemy, ambush. At the end of your turn, score victory points in the following ways. Score 1 victory point if 1 or more enemy units were destroyed this turn when they had a crossfire marker. Score 1 victory point if 1 or more enemy units that were destroyed this turn were set up from ambush. And score 1 victory point if 1 or more enemy units were destroyed in this turn as a result of a ranged attack made by a model from your army and the enemy unit was exposed when it was selected. So it's basically, if you score a unit that's got crossfire, score a unit that's been exposed, and score a unit when you come out from deep strike. So you can score 3 points a turn on that one. It's not too bad. 2 out of 3 of those I could see happening. The other one, not so sure. Not so sure itself. I'm going to go and change the battery on the camera because it's bleeping at me, but when I come back I'm going to go through the stratagems, pick up the best ones that you're going to see moving forward. So we are going to go through, let's get my hat on straight, the stratagems for the Genestealer Code. Quite a few new ones as always. A lot of the old favourites are no longer in the book, like firing on a grenade, as I said previously, but there are some seem to be reasonably good ones. So I'm going to quickly run through them, CP, basic rules, see if I think they're any good. Put your comments down below, see what you say on them. So first one, bore through, 1 CP, in the fight phase, Genestealer Cult unit. Till the end of the phase, each time model in that unit makes an attack. When an industrial weapon, you reroll the wound roll. And that's against enemy monster or vehicle. So that's mining lasers, rock saws, seismic cannons, etc., etc. Not too bad as long as you've got plenty of them. Especially if you use like your ridge runners. So you've got 3 mining lasers on there. Put it on the whole. Oh, it's in the fight phase, not the shooting phase. I am wrong on that one. So yeah, acolytes. Not like with all rock saws, etc. Rapid advance, in movement phase, 1 CP, Genestealers, bikers and vehicles, your auto moves 6 inches. Be good to get it into anywhere that you need to quickly, or you need to get in there to prevent any your opponent scoring victory points for your for primaries or even secondaries, for instance. One with the shadows, 1 CP, infantry, in shooting phase, in the opponent's shooting phase that is. To end phase, each time ranged attack is allocated to a model that unit. You recover benefit from cover, add an additional 1 to the armor save. So a bit of survivability on that one. Dig them out for 1 CP. Genestealer Codex unit from your army selected to shoot until the end of the phase. Each time modelling that unit makes an attack with an industrial weapon, again, target unit within 12 inches of it, the target is treated as being exposed. So if you can't get the exposure or your crossfire, you can use that one to give you the ability, which does help. One that I do like, it came straight to mind, is overload fuel cells. So in the shooting phase, Genestealer Codex unit in the shooting or fight phase for 1 CP, using an industrial weapon yet again. You can say if it's a ranged weapon, add 1 to the damage, very nice. Melee weapon, add 1 to the strength, quite nice. If an unmodified hit roll of 1, it suffers 1 mortal wound. So you could use them on your Ridge Runners for +1 to damage on there. So we D6 +1. Can't complain on that at all. Monstrous Figure for your Aberrants and your Abominant. Unmodified roll of 1, 2 or 3, attack fails. So basically you glorified transhuman for 1 CP. More than 5 models in the unit, then it's classed as 2 CP. Anything less, it's 1 CP. Raking Fire, so that's your bikes and your buggies, Ridge Runners. Makes an attack. If the target has Crossfire and was exposed when selected target, you can re-roll the hit roll. So that's not too bad. Not too bad at all. Especially with the abilities for Genestealer Codex on shooting. They're not fantastic, as most Genestealer players will tell you. It can be a nightmare getting the D3 shots, but then also getting number of shots to hit. That's a nightmare. Mass firearms. Shooting phase when Genestealer Crossfire unit contains 6 or more models until the end of the phase. Unmodified roll of a 6 auto wounds. So if you've got a shed load of auto guns and all that lot, 60 to hit, it does help. It does help, which I quite like. Devoted Crew, 1 CP, command phase for vehicles, classes having top profile. So it's mainly on your Rock Lions and Goliaths, not really these because they haven't got that many wounds, but still, can't complain on that. Hypermetabolism, characters in the command phase regain D3 lost wounds for 1 CP. That helps, especially with these guys, with the lack of wounds and needing that many models. You will be more likely using that one quite often. Rig to Blow for 1 CP, exploding vehicles for mortal wounds. Happens. Yeah, it's needed, it's good. Data Parasite, so for 1 CP or for normal vehicle, 2 for Titanic. In movement phase, select 1 enemy vehicle within 18 inches and in view of the Clamorverse. For vehicle model, characteristic can change as it suffers damage. Roll 1d6 on a 3+. Until the start of the next command phase, any vehicle is considered half. Which isn't too bad, because if you've got like a marine vehicle, like the execution or anything like that, or it's like hitting on 2s on the big cannon, or at night or something like that, half its wins. So we class bottom bracket if you're quite lucky. It's not too bad, not too bad at all. Legendary Demise, legendary! For 2 CP, any phase when the Calamorph model from your army is destroyed, do not remove it. He does a shooting phase and then removed. John Wayne Part 2. So it's all good. I like that one. Calamorph is a decent character itself. Putting out a number of shots can help with, can't help with crossfire, but it can cause a lot of damage there. Gestalt consciousness, psychic phase. When selecting a unit affected by psychic power, you can select one friendly cult unit anywhere on the battlefield. It doesn't have invisibility or in specific range. So basically, if you've got range on specific psychic ability from your Magus, you can spend 1 CP and that can be anywhere on the board. Could be quite helpful, especially when you're using ambush and conceal and all that lot to get into key locations. Reckless demolitions. 1 CP, select one model equipped with grenades. That model can only attack with grenade weapon, even though it's not a melee weapon, and even if that's the blast special rule, and can do so even within engagement range. When it does so, it makes a number of attacks equal to the weapon's type characteristic. So max hits for, like, you can throw grenades in combat, which helps. Starting to make things go boom. And always hits on a 2-up. Any rolls and that you lose a character. Well, like, you lose a model in that unit. For 1 CP, if you last dying breath, you might as well just drop a grenade and see what happens. So that one could be quite handy, especially if you go in combat heavy. Going on to leaders of the cult, 1 CP. Warlord is Patriarch, selects up to 2 other cult models, HQ choice, and they get Warlord traits. Standard practice, like so Brew Coven style. And then Gene Size Gifts, which is the Relic one that we all know and love. Pack Hunters for 2 CP, shooting phase, select 1 Jackal unit within 6 inches. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in another friendly cult unit makes a ranged attack, the castle being exposed. So you see the synergies here of making units exposed to get your rerolls to hit reroll wounds and ignore light cover. Genetic lineage for your hybrids and metamorphs. Until the end, you can advance and charge for 1 CP. So if you've got a big unit of 15 metamorphs with all the attacks, claws, whips, knives, the whole lot, you can get seriously scary amount of attacks on there, as well as advance and charging. Can't complain. Meticulous Uprising, when you revealing your ambush, it gives you a chance to move 2 ambush markers. For 2 CP, that's quite expensive for that. I wouldn't really use anything like that, but it's not a stratagem. If you're really desperate and you think, yeah, I need to get things out of dodge before the game starts, it's something good you can use. Clandestine goals. When you choose 1 CP, your objectives, you can hide one until you start scoring it. So hide it away from your opponent. Again, it's not one that I would really want to use, especially with 1 CP. There's quite a few others for 1 CP that you would want to use. Sorry to say it's a bit of a gimmick, but no, it's not one I want to use itself. Booby Trap for 1. End of your turn, select 1 objective marker you control, either by your Saboteur or your a core unit. When you have an enemy unit that comes onto the objective, on roll a dice on 2 to 4, suffers D3 mortal wounds, 5 or 6, 3 mortal wounds, but you only can do it once per objective. So you can do it basically 5 times, once per turn. Or no, you can actually do it 6 times actually. So combat for, yeah, if you do movement phase, and then if they consolidate onto another objective, you can do it then as well. If they're down to the last couple of mortal wound, last few wounds left, you can run that just for giggles to basically deny them more than anything. Lurking in shadows, opponent shooting phase for Cox infantry unit. Until the end of the phase, each time an enemy model shoots, If the unit is not the closest eligible target or within 12 inches, then it can't be shot at. Not too bad. If you're really that desperate to use it. It's 2 CP though. Not one for me, I'm afraid. Return to the Shadows. For 1 CP, that's your Genestealer infantry unit that can go dunk in movement phase and deploy next turn from reserves anywhere on the board as reserves. For 1 CP, that will be quite useful. Getting units out of dodge and into key locations, engaging all fronts, rod, etc. etc. So for 1 CP that will be quite handy. Covering fire in a charge phase, select one enemy unit that has a crossfire marker on it. They cannot fire Overwatch, so that's going to be quite handy for a big unit like, for instance, aggressors with flamers, auto hit. And I can use, looking at you Jamie, right down the camera, stratagems for firing all shots, and that would burn the unit to the ground very, very easy. Put crossfire token on it, charge into it, can't do Overwatch. Or set to defend, or perform heroic interventions. Yeah, that one, definitely, Jamie, look out for that one, will be helpful. For 1 CP, that will be used quite a lot. Tunnel Crawlers. Charge phase, select 1 area terrain feature. Each time cult infantry unit from your army declares a charge against an enemy unit within that area terrain, cannot fire Overwatch, and ignores the effects of difficult terrain itself. So again, another ignore Overwatch stratagem, which will be quite handy, to be honest. These guys will suffer when getting into combat itself. Fanatical Devotion. This is an heroic intervention step for the opponent's charge phase. Select one enemy unit within engagement range of a Primarch, Primus, or Magus. 1 friendly core unit within 6 inches, not within engagement range. Can heroically intervene for 6 inches. But you can't tag another unit. So the tagging element has come out of it, so you will only be able to charge that 1 unit itself. 1 CP, yeah, extra movement. It's all about movement game now, placement, so can't complain on that. Roaming engagement, shooting phase. After you've shot with your bikes or your ridge runners, can move 7 inches, so you fire and fade from your Eldari for your bikes or your buggies. Again, movement, positioning, quite handy actually, and to get out of dodge. Coordinated Assault. Start the fight phase, select 1 enemy unit and crossfire marker and within engagement range of Genestealer Cult. Until the end of the phase, that enemy is not eligible to fight until, so basically, crossfire target on there, and from that, they have to fight very, very last, which will help. Again, your overload for your Sanctus, yeah, sniper. If enemy model lost any wounds as a result of the attack and was not destroyed, roll 3d6. Consult the leadership. Until next shooting phase, that enemy model loses all aura abilities, all your rerolls, and if it's a psyker, you take perils of the warp. But enemy units can only be affected by this stratagem once for 1 CP. Yeah, it will work for 1 CP. I can see that working quite well. Last ditch effort as well. Summon Familiar, 1 CP, so if you use your Familiar for any psychic abilities, then you can gain 1 back for 1 CP. But each character can only summon it back once. And lastly, private explosives, shooting phase, from your cult model in the army. Use a grenade or cachet demolition charges until the end of phase. Do not determine the number of attacks. You get max of 6. Because we always hate rolling grenades like that, powerful grenades, and rolling 1. Re-rolling to 1. So if 1 CP, you can guarantee 6. If you desperately need it. So out of all of that, there's, I'd say, 6 or 7 that you would want to use all the while. Some situational ones. But there's a large variety on there and different styles. But yeah, remember you got these as well as the Cult Creed ones, one of each. So you got, there is a good variety depending on how you play. It's a good selection. So from that, again, so the main meat and bones of this, I'm going to go into the units themselves. Right, going on to the last section of this review. Hopefully I'll give you some insight into Genestealer Cult, and hopefully Dave will show some pictures of some of the stuff that during the video on this one of stuff that I've done at the moment. There are still bits and pieces in progress, so hopefully I'll have a full Genestealer Cult army for the whole of the team to try and utilise. Yeah, I'd like to see Ross try and run Genestealer Cult with his dirty custodies. Anyway, the main meat and potatoes of this review is the units themselves. Now, as you know from Warhammer community, the only new unit that we've got is the Saboteur, which we've got one that I need to build and paint up. But all the other main units are identical. As I said previously, Blood Brothers is using the Astra Militarum book, but also we've got the Tyranids keyword on everything. So yeah, bring on the Tyranids. Part of this, mix and match, lovely jubbly, all good. Because like I said, the Astra Militarum Dex itself is only separately. So with that, going on with the HQ units. Now, previously you had the likes of the Abominum as part of the HQ slot. That is no more, that's an elite slot. You've got your 5 main HQs now. So, start with the Patriarch. What I'm looking over here, guys, is just for my notes as well. So it's actually gone up in points, but it's still weapon skill 2, movement 8, strength, toughness 5, 7 wounds, 6 attacks, 4 up save. So it's got claws, minus 3 AP, 2 damage. Each time you use this weapon, you can reroll the wound roll, and on a modified roll of a 6 becomes AP 6 and damage of 3. So it's still quite strong, especially with 6 attacks. Have your Psychic Familiar for your additional psychic power if you want to use it. So it's got Conceal, so full blown bring out in reserve. Living Idol, models within 6 inches, combat attrition is ignored. Swift and Deadly, can move, assault move and charge, which is always handy. And it's got 4 up invuln, so you've got 4 up save, 4 up invuln on there. You can manifest 2 psychic powers and deny 1, but right, Psychic Familiar can do 3. So yeah, she once per battle, so you can reroll 1 psychic test. So you can have 1. So yeah, it is a monster on there with a load of the stratagems, relics and all that. Like, you can make him a proper beat stick. Like I said, got up in points, not by much, but it's gone up in points itself. Primus, the other combat beast, he has gone down in points very slightly to make up for the Patriot. So movement 6, hits on 2s, strength 4, toughness 4, 5 wounds, 4 attacks, leadership 9, 5 up save. Needle pistol, 18-inch range, pistol 1, strength 1, no AP, D3 damage, but always wins on a 2-up against infantry. Yeah. Bone sword, +1 strength, so it makes it strength 5, -2, flat 2. So 4 attacks, but remember, they're not one of the relics that actually make it into 8 attacks. Another beat stick itself. Toxin injector, claw, strong hand. Melee, so strength 4, -1, 1 damage. Makes 1 additional attack with his weapon, so it makes it 5 attacks. Always wins on a 2. So Primus normally wins on a 2, either shooting or in combat. Either got to use your bone sword or your claw. Depends on what you're going up against. Conceal, unquestionable loyalty, so you can pass off wounds to other units. Cult Demagogue, 6 inches, reroll hit rolls of 1. So if you want to stick them with like your acolytes, metamorphs, and all that lot, potentially on those, because it has to be core units. Meticulous Planner, command phase, select 1 unit, friendly unit within 9, and reroll wound rolls of 1. So buff upon buff. Magus is gone down in points, ever so slightly. Move 6, hits on 3s, strength 3, toughness 3, 4 wounds, 3 attacks, leadership 9, 5 up save. Auto pistol, 4 saves, so +3, strength, so strength 6, -1, flat D3. Flat D3, but D3. Magus Bio Dagger, can use it with 1 attack, and if I roll 3 up, inflicts 1 mortal wound on target, and it finishes. So out of your 3 attacks, you can use your Bio Dagger for 1 attack, 3 up, you cause mortal wound, no matter what. If you need to cause that 1 mortal wound to basically make sure it's dead, it's handy. Psychic Familiar again for reroll psychic tests. Conceal unquestionable loyalty, spiritual leader. So infantry and bikes, 6 inches, within 6 inches of it. Each time you lose a wound, as a result, in mortal wound in the psychic phase, highlight psychic phase, on a 5 up it's ignored. Yeah, that'll be handy, especially in a large group of units. And your opponents, like Grey Knights for instance, spam them, smite and all that lot, and mortal wounds, you can 5 up ignore. Or even Nightbringer. Just saying. You can muster 2 psychic powers and deny 1. So same as the Patriarch, so that's your 2 main psychers. Now remember, you can only have 1 of these in each detachment. Acolyte Icon Ward, that has actually gone up in points quite a bit. I've got one, it's ready to be painted, gonna do one anyway, but it's still, there's a hefty points increase. So Colt Claws, just base user strength 6. Movement 6, hits on 3s, strength 4, toughness 4, 4 wounds, 4 attacks, leadership 8, 5 up save. Colt Claws, melee, -3, 1 damage, and auto pistol, and it's got blasting charges as well for your grenades, which is D3, strength 5, -1, 1 damage, blast. Conceal unquestionable loyalty. Nexus of Devotion. Command phase, 6 inches. That unit can summon a cult. So, as I said previously, you can summon your cult back into your units. If you haven't summoned your full 3 or your full 6, so full 3 on your acolytes, your full 6 on your neophytes, you can do it again to try and bring it up to that maximum number, but you can't go over it. Sacred Banner, you can do a following action. At the end of the movement phase, at the end of the move units step of your movement phase, one icon ward can start performing this action. The action is completed at the start of your charge phase. This action is success. The model performing this action gains the ability Sacred Cult Banner for all infantry, bikes, characters, excluding Genestealer units, get +1 to their charge. So you could get, with other stratagems and abilities and bits and pieces, you could get +2 to your charge. Not too shabby, especially if you want a lot of charges going on, if you can be in the opponent's face, which I think you need to do with the Genestealers themselves, and the Genestealer Codex, I should say. You're going to have to be really in the opponent's face. Jackal Alphas, sniper on bike. So what has she got? So 14-inch movement, hits on 3s, BS 2, strength 3, toughness 4, 4 wounds, 3 attacks, issue 8, 4 up save. Auto pistol, standard auto pistol. Sniper rifle, 36-inch, heavy 1, strength 5, -3, 2 damage. Ignores lookout sir, as normal for snipers. On a 4-up, inflicts a normal mortal wound on top of any damage you cause. And then got some blasted charges as well, as previously stated. Not bad. And you can give it one of the Relic sniper rifles as well for going against like Psychos, etc. Priority targets. In command phase, select one friendly core Crossfire unit within 9 inches, and select one enemy unit within 36. Visible until the end of the turn. Each time this model makes this model or a model in that friendly unit makes a ranged attack, the enemy unit is treated as being exposed. It's not too shabby, to be honest, especially if you're using the likes of your buggies, your bikes, rock grinders, flamers, etc. Auto guns, as many auto guns as you can possibly find. Being exposed, so to speak, is going to be handy. Master Outrider. So rival models in 6 inches of jackals or vehicles. Here we are. Enemy models cannot target this model within ranged weapons unless it's the closest of an eligible target. Each time an attack is made against this model, subtract -1. So as long as it's within 6 inches of these, you can't target it at all. Unless it's the front facing one, which you're going to be behind these guys as it is. And this model is eligible to shoot and declare a charge when it falls back. Quite handy. And on the Alphas, that is actually gone up ever so slightly in points as well. So you can see the points are changing quite a bit on there. But I think, not through the whole book, I think a lot of the points have dropped itself to get you a chance to get more on there, which you will need. Going on to your troop choices. Akla hybrids. So you can have between 5 and 15. Move 6, weapon skill 3, ballistic skill 4, strength 4, toughness 4, which is different to the previous book. 1 wound, 2 attacks, or 3 attacks for the leader. Leash 7, leash 8, and 5 up save. So you've got your usual section of weapons: auto pistol, hand flamer, bone swords, claws and knives. On there, then you go on to your industrial weapons, which is your rock cutter. So ×2 strength, so strength 8, -4, flat 3, but it's -1 to hit with. So you're going to be hitting people on 4s. Still a good weapon though, especially with flat damage. I mean, 2 attacks each on there. You can cause quite a bit of damage on it. Your rock drill, again strength 8, -4, 1 damage. If it hit the score, that attack ultimately wounds the target, and on an unmodified roll of 6, the target suffers 2 mortal wounds in addition. Ooh. So you're going to be hitting on 3s, with 2 attacks on each of these. So, if you score a hit, it's auto wound. If you hit on a 6, it's 2 mortal wounds on top of. That's quite nice. That is going to be very, very nice actually. Then your heavy rock saw times 2, so again strength 8, -4, flat 2 damage. No other bonus, no other rules for it. So there's some quite nice heavy weapons in there. Then you've got your blast charges or demolition charges. Baron can only shoot with this demo charge, and it's equipped with once per battle, and that's D6 shots, strength 8, -3, flat 2 damage. So there's a lot of strength 8 in this, a lot of strength 8, and a lot of high damage on there. It's quite nice. You want to get them really up close, so you ambush and you conceal and all that lot, and using your Goliath trucks, multiple MSU units potentially, because you can change all your auto pistols out for hand flamers, 3 points each, roughly. Cult icon to bring people back. So for every 5, you can 2 acolytes can change. Replaced with one of the following. So for every 5 models, up to 2 acolyte hybrids, each have auto pistol, so on and so forth. Replace one of the following. So 2 demo charges, 1 rock cutter, 1 rock drill, 1 rock saw. So basically, you can't have 6 rock cutters. You can have basically 2 of each, or 3 of each even. So you can't have because if you have 15, you can't have 9 rock cutters, 9 rock drills, or 9 rock drills, or 9 rock saws. Maximum you can have is 3 of each. Because in the box you do get 1 of each on there, so I think that's possibly why they're doing it that way. And the leader can have bone sword, a lash whip, usual, and they've got the crossfire keyword on there. So again, that's score 5 hits in shooting, enables you to have crossfire on there, and then when it's exposed, you get your additional abilities. And the hybrids themselves have actually gone up ever so slightly in points, taking into account strength and toughness upgrade, potentially. Still could be quite a good unit. Your other troops, neophytes. They've actually stayed the same points. They're not changed. So you can go between 1 and 20. Movement 6, hits on 4s for both. Strength 3, toughness 3, 1 wound, 1 attack, or 2 for the leader. Leadership 7, leadership 8, 5 up save. So basic Warfare Guardsman. Auto guns, auto pistols, can have Colt shotguns if you really wanted to. There's flamers, grenade launchers. Going on to the main heavy weapons, which for every 10 models in the unit, up to 2 neophyte hybrids can each have a shotgun, auto gun replaced with heavy stubber, mining laser, seismic cannon. So you can have so with one of the following. Yep. So you can have 2 heavy stubbers, or you can have 4 mining lasers, 4 seismic cannons in there. Which is quite nice, or 4 heavy stubbers if you need all the shots. Not too shabby, not too shabby. So with heavy stubbers, exactly same as normal, guys. I'm not going to go into heavy stubbers by now, but going into seismic cannon, long wave and short wave. Long wave 24 inches for long wave and short wave. Long wave is heavy 6. Strength 4, -1, 1 damage. Or shortwave, heavy 3, strength 6, -2, 2 damage. So you're wounding Marines on 3s. Make them 5 up save, and each one is a dead Primaris. 4 of them in there, not bad. Mining laser, heavy 1, 24 inch, strength 9, -3, flat, and that's D6 damage. Warfare las cannon. Then we've got web pistols, webbers, which are mortal wounds. It's the same as the other one. They're not great. They look good, but no. Basically, a webber is 18-inch assault D3, strength 1, but with blast, each time an attack is made with this weapon, do not make a hit roll, instead roll 1d6 and the attack sequence ends if the result is greater than the highest strength characteristic in the unit and they suffer a mortal wound. It is a quick way of getting mortal wounds, and for every 10 you can have 2 neophytes. They can swap out to flamer, grenade launcher, or weapon. Again, these are crossfire, so score 5 again, score 5 unit 5 shots with your auto guns, or 1 shot with heavier weaponry, industrial weaponry. You're always seeing a lot of neophytes, 20-man blobs, more than likely on there, especially with them bringing them back. But yeah, we'll see. It's going to be the mainstay of most armies. Going on to elites. Now this is where the fun starts. Pure strain Genestealers. And in my book of many notes, they've actually gone down ever minutely. They've gone down in points. Movement 8, hits on 2s, strength 4, toughness 4, 1 wound, 4 attacks, leadership 9, 5 up save. Claws and talons, minus 3 AP, 1 damage for all the attacks. Conceal, unquestionable loyalty, swift and deadly, they can advance and charge. And they get a 4 up invuln save. Yeah, I can live with that. For the points that they are, you may see 1 unit in there. They can go between 5 and 10. Can't complain. Can't complain. Genestealers, glorified aliens on steroids. It's great. Going on to Metamorphs. 15 in the squad now, up from 5 to 15. And the Metamorphs now for the base value is actually dropped ever so slightly. Movement 6, weapon skill 3, ballistic skill 4, strength, toughness 4, 1 wound, 3 attacks base for normal guys, 4 attacks for the leader, leadership 7, leadership 8, and 5 up save. So it's auto pistol, hand flame, bone swords, metamorph mutations, +1 attack, so +1 strength, minus 3 AP, 1 damage for 3 attacks each. Yep. Blasting charges, can have a cult icon in there, can have a lash whip, so each time bear makes a melee attack, you can reroll hit roll. Not bad. So that's for the unit. So each time the bearer makes a melee attack against a unit, you can reroll the hit roll. Fair enough. Any number of models can have a hand flamer. 1 hybrid metamorph can have a cult icon. Leader can have a lash whip or bone sword. Metamorphs mutations can replace one of it as well on there. Conceal, questionable laws for crossfire again. Savage amalgam. Each time a model in this unit is destroyed by melee attack, if that model has not fought this phase, do not remove it. You fight with it, and then you take it off. So basically, in death. Not bad. So you can throw it in there if you get charged, and they go hack and slash. That's fine. They die. That's fine. Still attack you back. So points value for them, they could be a good choice. Could be a good choice on there. Aberrants, the one that everybody talks about. So With the aberrants now, they are 1 point cost each. Cheaper than what they were. I'm not going to say what they are. But like in the old book, it was 35 and 50, 35 points each for the main, and then 50 points for the glorified stop sign. They have reduced. Good news all round. 1 to 10. Movement 6. Weapon skill, ballistic skill, weapon skill 3. They got no shooting. Strength 5, toughness 5. 3 wounds each. 2 attacks, 3 attacks. Leadership 7. 5 up save. So everybody has hypermorph tail, so for 1 attack and 1 additional attack each, which is strength 5, -1, 1 damage. Everybody now don't have a power pick or power hammer. They are all power weapons. +3, so that's strength 8, -2, flat 3. Just remember that, guys. Strength 8, -2, flat 3. Nice, and all those abilities as well on top from your buffing characters, etc., etc., and your cults could make them quite nasty. The hypermorph can actually have the glorified stop sign, improvised weapon. It's only +1 strength, make it strength 6. -1 to flat 2, but all damage rolls over. So it's flat 2 damage itself, but it rolls over. Could be quite niche, but that ain't bad. That ain't bad at all. Bestial Vigor, you reduce your damage by 1 to minimum 1. It's not good as well it was previously, but you've got those other bonuses, guys. Make them transhuman. You've got the ability to ignore wounds on a 5 up from Biovegas, which is going to go on to slightly in a minute. You can make them absolutely brutal hard for the points. It's not going to be 300 odd points for God knows how many. You could see a lot more of these guys. I've got 7 done at the moment, got another 3 to paint up. But they're going to look good. They are going to look good. Abominant, which it was in the HQ choice, now it's an elite choice, but remember you can actually put this into a non-organisation slot, so it doesn't take up a particular point. Movement 6, hits on 3, strength 5, toughness 5, 6 wounds, 3 attacks, leadership 8, 5 up save. Not bad. Got familiar claws from his little mate on the side. Power Sledgehammer. ×2 strength, so that's strength 10. -3, D3 + 3 damage. No modifiers to hit, so he's hitting on 3s for days with 3 attacks. But any modifiers, 4 attacks, possibly 5 attacks. D3 + 3 damage. That could be a broken vehicle in one go. Conceal Unquestionable Loyalty. The Chosen One. Friendly unit within, friendly aberrant unit, I should say, within 6 inches. Each time model in that unit makes a melee attack, you can re-roll the hit roll. These guys re-roll hit rolls. Each time this model would lose a wound on a 5 up, wound is not lost. So that's only on the Abominant. Bestial Vigor, -1, so disgusting resilient. -1 familiar, each time this model is selected to fight, you can re-roll 1 hit roll and 1 re-roll when resolving its attacks. Yeah, it's a freebie, can't complain. But it's good it's now an elite choice, but you can actually make it a non-force choice when you have your elite choices in there for 3 of them, or however many you want. Nexus, or the man with the magical map. Nexus itself, in my notes, where are you, Mr. Nexus? Didn't put it on there, but I think it's about the same points as it was. Hasn't really changed. Movement 6, 3 to hit, 3 strength 3, toughness 3, 4 wounds, 3 attacks, leadership 8, 5 up safe. You can see that quite a lot on these. Auto pistol, conceal, and questionable loyalty. So it's mainly down to his special rules. So battlefield analysis in your command phase, even. If this model is on the battlefield, select one enemy unit on the battlefield. That unit gains crossfire marker straight away. That will be quite handy. You don't have to concentrate on getting crossfire marker on the key unit. He can put it on there wherever he wants. Doesn't need to be line of sight or anything. Just puts it on there. Strategic coordination. In your command phase, select one friendly core unit on the battlefield, then select one of the following friendly character models within 6 inches. Primus, Alphas, Clamavus. Until the start of the next command phase, that core unit is considered to be within range of that cult character's models or abilities, and can be selected for any of that cult character's abilities that instruct itself. So, if you've got a character within 6 inches of the Nexus, and you can select one friendly unit on the battlefield, and basically that ability can basically pass on to a unit on anywhere else. So that is quite handy actually. He's quite a handy character now. Instead of getting your CP back, which you can do on stratagem, he's quite handy to push all your aura abilities and other abilities around the board to key locations. It's going to be good. And go on to DJ Maestro in the house, Clamorous. He's actually gone down in points, which is always good. Movement 6, hits on 3s, strength 3, toughness 3, 4 wounds, 3 attacks, issue 8, 5 up save. Same again. Got an auto pistol if you really want to use it. Conceal and unquestionable loyalty. On to special rules. Proclamation Hailer. Sorry, bad speech. Apologise on this, guys. In command phase, select one friendly core unit within 12 until you start next command phase. Each time that unit performs an action, you can shoot. Each time a combat attrition test is taken, auto pass. Handy. Scramble array. Enemy units that are set up within the battlefield as reinforcements cannot be set up within 12 inches of this unit. Stick as close to the front line as you possibly can, hidden, and then from that, no units can set up within 12 inches. Handy. Voice of New Truths. In your morale phase, select one enemy unit within 12. So I've got itchy nose. And roll 3d6 and consult the leadership characteristic. Until the start in morale phase, that unit cannot perform actions. Oh, sorry, if you roll 3d6, you're greater than your enemies. I've got to read a little bit, sorry. Until the next morale phase, that unit cannot perform any actions. And until the start of your next morale phase, that unit loses the objective secure ability. Always handy. Each unit can only be selected for this ability once per phase. That's fine. It's handy though. Get rid of objective secure quite nicely if you've got somebody on there, like bikers or something like that. It actually outnumbers an objective secure unit. Make the enemy unit non-objective secure. Scored a point. And what do points make? Not prizes, sadly. As I said, Clamorous has gone down in points, which is always handy again. Locus. And Locus has actually gone up ever so slightly. Same as before. Well, actually, weapon skill 2, basic skill 3, strength 4, toughness 4, 4 wounds, 5 attacks, leadership 8, 5 up save. It's got a hypermorph tail hidden under his cloak. and the Locust Blades, which is +1 strength, so making it strength 5, -3, flat 2 damage. And you can have the Relic to make you 9 attacks, which is quite nice. Conceal Unquestionable Loyalty again. It's got reflexes, so it's 5 pin fun save. I'm not going to say the first word because again I can't speak. Bodyguards. During deployment, select one cult character from your army, excluding a Locust model, because he is a Locust. While this model is within 3 inches of its ward, enemy models cannot target that ward with range attacks. While this model is invisible target for melee attacks, and that enemy cannot target this model's ward with melee attacks. So it's basically a glorified bodyguard itself. Quicksilver Strike. At the start of the fight phase, if this model is within engagement range, it fights first. Very much like one of the stratagems you heard me speak earlier about from the Patriarch. Not bad. Sudden Assault. This model is eligible to perform a heroic intervention if it's within 6 inches horizontally and 5 inches vertically, instead of the 3 inches normally. Each time this model makes a heroic intervention move, provided it ends its movement either closest to the enemy model or engagement range of any character, you can move 6 inches. All other rules, heroic intervention still apply. So it's basically quite a 6-inch heroic intervention. If you really need it, it's there. I've used it a few times. It's really handy, really handy to be honest. John Wayne next, aka the Kellamorph with many pistols for shooting. Kellamorph is the same points as previously. Keep looking at my notes because there's so many rules and so many changes on this. Can't remember all of them. So Kellamorph, 6-inch move, weapon skill 3, ballistic skill 2. So still good at shooting. Strength 3, toughness 3, 4 wounds, 4 attacks, issue 8, 5 up save. Liberator auto stub, so he's got 3 of them. Range 18, 2 shots each, so 6 shots in total. Strength 5, -1 damage. And again, ignore lookout, sir. Each time an attack is made with this weapon, an unmodified wound roll of 6 inflicts 1 mortal wound on the target in addition to any normal. That's just normal. That's slightly changed. Not bad. Conceal Unquestionable Loyalty has the Crossfire ability, so you can use him to put Crossfire marker on it as long as you score 5 hits, basically. Gunslinger. Each time this model makes a ranged attack, if hit is scored, you can make 1 additional ranged attack with the same weapon. This additional ranged attack cannot generate further. Got a bit of hiccup here. Excuse me. So you've got 6 shots. If you hit, you can generate more, so you're more likely you are going to score 5 hits. If you don't, you're doing something wrong, especially hitting on 2s. So you can use that to score your Crossfire to then enable you to cause severe damage with everything else. Always handy, and you can conceal as well. And that lot. Hypersensory abilities in your shooting phase. After this model shoots, you can make a normal move or fall back as if it was movement phase. Built-in fire and fade, up to 6 inches. Really good. You can get him out of dodge, get him hidden. Really nice. Getting bouncing from cover to cover. So he's got a 12-inch move, if you think about it, guys. Like it. Heroic Deeds, Heroic Inspiration. If this model destroys any enemy models in your shooting phase, till the end of the phase, within 6 inches of it core, you reroll hit rolls of 1. Again, really good. It helps out. You're not going to be really in there for shooting, but it's really good. And he's got reflexes as well for 5 up invuln, so 5 up invuln, 5 up save. He's a good character to have. Same points as before, as I said. Can't fault it really. Really nice. Still more characters. Sanctus, a cheeky sniper. So, movement 6, hits on 2s, strength 3, toughness 3, 4 attacks, 4 wounds, issue 8, 5 up save. Sniper rifle, exactly same as the Alphas, the same rules. And you can give it the Bio Dagger, which is make an additional attack with it, so 5 attacks. An unmodified wound roll of 3 inflicts a mortal wound on target and target ends. So you could cause 5 mortal wounds. Yeah, I'd rather have a sniper rifle, to be honest, but that's just me. Conceal unquestionable authority again. Creeping Shadow. This model has a 5 invuln save. Each time an attack is made against this model, subtract 1 from the attack's hit roll. So 5 up save, 5 invuln save, -1 to hit in combat. Oh no, any attack, not just combat. So sneaky, hiding in the shadows. Soul Sight. Each time the model makes an attack, the attack automatically hits the target. Nice. The target does not receive benefits for cover. So you go, I'm going to fire my sniper rifle, auto hits. But you need to potentially roll a dice for mortal wounds, so a little bit of contradiction on there. Cloaked Assassin. Enemy models cannot target this model with ranged attacks unless they are within 12 inches of it. Each time ranged attack is allocated to this model, benefits to cover an additional 1 to armor save, so I think it's a 4 up save. Yeah. If your model equipped with sniper rifle, here we go, there's rules for sniper rifle. It gains the Crossfire ability and the Crossfire keyword. Each time this model makes an attack with that weapon, the target is treated as being exposed as well. So again, the synergies of creating Crossfire and exposure for the rest of your army to take advantage of. Not too shabby. Saboteur. So the rules for Saboteur are exactly the same as what they've been on. Oh, that's quite itchy. Saboteur itself, exactly the same as rules on Warhammer Community, so I'm not going to go through it, guys. It's all on Warhammer Community as it is, exactly the same. There's no points change on it from anywhere else. I don't want to waste your time. Last elite character slot, Biophagus. So the Biophagus is the same points as before, quite cheap. Movement 6, hits on 3s, strength 3, toughness 3, 4 wounds, 3 attacks, issue 8, 5 up save. Injected gold, chemical vials, which is a grenade, always wins on 2. Injected gold, always hits on 2. So that's for melee and for grenades. And then he has a Alcheminus Familiar, so slight difference to the psychic one. Once per battle, when this model starts to perform a twisted experimental action, which I'll say very shortly, select one core or other unit within 18 inches and doesn't have a genomic enhancement instead of one within 3 inches. So he sends his familiar off, runs up the field, stabs the aberrants, and goes, here's ability for you. Handy. Conceal unquestionable loyalty yet again. Now this is where the rules come into it for Biophagus. So, genomic enhancements. Twisted experiment is an action. At the end of your movement phase, one Biophagus model in your army can start to perform this action. Select one core or aberrant unit within 3 inches of the model, or if you've got your familiar, 18 inches. This action is completed at the end of your shooting phase, provided that the unit still stays within range. If the action is successful, you get to either pick an enhancement if you're an aberrant, or roll a d3 if you're not. Only one unit can have one ability. So each time you can either have enhanced muscular, improve. Each time model hits unit makes melee attack, improve the armor pen by 1. Aggression, melee attack, roll of 6, gives you another hit. Or resilience, Unit loses a wound, on a fire up, the wound is not lost. So that's where the ability that we did have in the old book for the aberrants, you can give it an enhancement to make it happen. Yeah, it's good. Injector gold, each size model shoots, non-vehicle or Titanic. If it lost any wounds against the injector gold, it's not destroyed, or D6. If the result is greater than the model's wound characteristic, the model is destroyed. I'm just reiterating that, guys. If you score a wound, say on a captain for instance, it's down to 4 wounds. Roll a 5 or 6, that captain is dead. No ifs, no buts, no babies, it is dead. You can even do it to a hive tyrant that's got 4 wounds left. Shoot it, cause a wound, a 4 up, dead. It's nice. I do like the Biophagus for its ability. It's got quite a bit of rules, but really nice. Moving on to the Jackals. So everybody loves these bikes. The models are fantastic on them. Do want more. I've got 4 with Wolf Quad. Need to get more of them. They really are good. So fast attack. So you can have 3 to 7 Jackals with a leader, so that brings it up to 8, and 2 buggies. And for those, roughly about the same points. You've got the add-ons a little bit cheaper, but roughly about the same points. Incinerator, which is your flamer on your buggy, range 12, assault D6, auto hits, strength 5, -1 damage. Then you've got your small arms, so your pistols, grenade launcher, heavy stubber, mine laser, and then your demo charges itself. So any number of models can be equipped with a power weapon for combat, which is, it'll be strength 4, -2, 1 damage. So not too shabby. You can have grenade launcher. You can have the usual incinerator, stubber, or mining laser on your. Heavy stubber, mining laser, or your flamer on your 4x4. Quad even. Ability is conceal unquestionable loyalty, crossfire again. Skilled outriders, -1 to hit him. Jackals, unit is eligible to shoot and declare a charge until it fell back. So fallback charge. Raiders, each time model makes a ranged attack, a unit within 6 inches of it, it's treated as being exposed. So that's reroll hit or wound. Scouts, start first battle round before the first turn begins. If they're not set in ambush, they get 3 9-inch move. Always handy. Get the objectives before anybody else does. Always good. I do like the Jackals. The models are fantastic. Can't complain. Ridge Runners. Everybody's favourite 4x4. 1 to 3, same again. They've actually gone up in points now, guys. Sorry to say. Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a pain, but what can you do? Got your missile launcher for 36-inch, heavy 3, strength 6, -3 damage. Again, hitting on 4s, 14-inch movement, strength 5, toughness 6, 8 wounds, 3 attacks, least you 8, 4 up save. You've got your mine laser for heavy D3, same as before. Heavy mortar, heavy D6, strength 6, -1, 1 damage. Can target non-visible targets. And then you've got your 2 heavy stebbers on the front as well. Flare launcher, 6 up invuln. When you charge it, you've got a subtract 2 from the charge. Spotter, 12 inches to range characters or range weapons, so that'll be 48 inches. Surveyor, Agor, each sign, range attackers may bear a targeted weapon within 24 inches. They do not suffer, they do not get light cover. Conceal and Crossfire. Explodes on a 6, 3 inches, 1 mortal wound, and Scout, they got the same as the bikes, so they get a free 9-inch move if not put in ambush. Very quickly on rock grinders. So the rock grinders themselves, same points. Top bracket, movement 12, hits on 3, ballistic skill 4, strength 6, toughness 7, 10 wounds, 6 attacks, issue 8, 3 up save. And the things that degenerate is its movement, ballistic skill, and attacks. Clash of thermal charges, incinerator, mining laser, seismic cannon. Seismic cannon is actually strength 6 and strength 8 now on it because it's heavy. The drill dozer blade, so that will make it strength 8 minus 2 damage. If it makes a charge move, it makes 2 additional attacks, so it brings it up to 8 attacks. Crossfire, conceal, rocket construction, so subtract 1 from the damage characteristic to minimal 1, and explodes 6 inches for D3, and can carry 6 infantry models or 1 patriarch and 1 other character. Not too bad. Lastly, but not means least, the Goliath truck for your transports. Very similar to your rock grinder. Strength 6, toughness 6, 10 wounds, 3 attacks. You've got demo charges, twin auto cannon, heavy stubber. It's actually gone up in points, sorry to say. Rugged construction, explodes, open top, and can carry 10 models. But still looks good though. That is basically all the units, guys, and points wise, roughly. Going to go now for a quick review over the whole of the decks itself in brief, and I'll be right back. Well, there you have it, guys. So that's my take on the Genestealer Cult book. Try not to go into too much detail on there. I don't want to give you spend hours and hours going through it all, but give you a good flavour of what you got coming up, especially all those Genestealer Cult players out there. I know there's quite a few that even if you're not a Genestealer Cult player, you still sit there and go, give them something to use there, guys. It's a faction that could be really, really good, really fun. A lot of players, I know, it's like they go there, they take Genestealer Cult for the hilarity value, because they were that bad for quite some time. But they may have some teeth. Take quite a while for key players and good friends of mine. I know on the Scottish teams, and other in the competitive community, to break down the book, find out little tricks and knickknacks and all that lot. I'm going to be certainly trying it out. Something completely different to how I play normally. Yes, you will still struggle with having that many characters. I say it's 13, 14, even 15 to choose from as it is, and you need most of them to actually make yourself good to a certain extent, which is a shame, but you just need to really understand and read your rules, and read all the auras, and get the combos going. Choose a creed, stick with the creed that you want. There's ways and means. There is ways and means. There's no doubt it's a big improvement. How much of an improvement, I don't know yet. Yet to play with them and play against them, which should hopefully be coming up soon. but hopefully they'll make a good step forward in 9th edition, put it that way. So I hope you've actually enjoyed me rambling on for however this long is on this video, but hopefully give you some insight into what's coming up. This army will be on the channel very shortly. I've got a few more, as I said, a few more units to paint up and ready for us to use it on the channel, but they will be on the channel very shortly. Do not panic. Another style of gaming incoming. But as always, put your comments down below, guys. Hopefully this will help you give a good insight to what's coming up. Click on for your Patreon as normal, Facebook page, Instagram. Comments down below for me, Dave, Ross and Stuart as well. Let me know what you think on there, what you think possible good combos. Let me know what sort of cults you can possibly think of to try it out with what units to see how competitive they can actually be. Because I do hope they are not massively competitive, because I don't think they will be. There's nothing outstanding out there at the moment, but I think they've got some teeth and claws and multiple arms as well. But anyway, guys, take care of yourself. Enjoy the review. Hopefully, I'll see you very, very shortly on a Tabletop Salt Battle Report. So, take care, guys. Bye-bye.